to pass the reins over to Nico.
Thanks, Emily. So, as always, I will just turn off my camera as I'm streaming my full desktop here. That will be much more easier. Let's do this right now. So, welcome everyone. Happy New Year again. And for this New Year Fix It Hour, what we will do? Well, we will have a simple project using APL to show you an interesting way to basically get retention on your voice app. So basically, what we will build is a kind of a skill you will have to launch every day to do an action. For this example, the action will be to basically just see a flower. So that's a time lapse. That's a time lapse video I've exported to a still frame, and we will use 6 of those frames to generate or to use in the APL template to see the flower opening. The thing is, if the user miss one day, the flower will die. So we will have a picture of the flower that is no more as beautiful as it should be. It's not much for the specific use case, but it's more about how to deal with that and basically how to generate enthusiasm in the use of a skill. So in that example, that will be to be sure that the flower is okay, but that can also be way more interesting stuff. So it's basically like a Tamagotchi or this kind of stuff, but also in other way, you can also have and use interaction with the user to build something, or multiple users to build something. And in the same way, ask them to do that on a regular basis. So that can be that can lead to a workout skill, that can lead to a to-do skill, that can lead to a lot of projects. So it's basically just to introduce you in a way to handle that. We will use time frame. We don't have any code here. I want to start this year with a simple project, so everyone can follow that. So that will be the first part of the session, and the second half of the session will be more technical. It will be all about the new VF file. So I don't know if you are aware, but you can now export your project. That's the little icon here. When you are on your project, you can export that, and that will generate a JSON file, which will contain all the project information. And that's something you can backup. You can use as a backup. You can share, as other user will be able to import them. So on their workspace, they have this same little icon. So the arrow is facing down, and they can click on that and import the project. That's one of the goal. We're also working on a SDK that is available for, or actually in beta and available for our enterprise client. But again, the team is working on making that happen this year. So a lot of most of the user will be able to use that, and that will also be a part of the second half of this session, is how that can be useful to enhance and update or optimize your project. And one of the things we will see is how to use that with, for example, features that are not yet available in Voiceflow or not fully supported. So for that example, we will use the Alexa timer API, which will allow you to basically set a timer on the Alexa device, and you can also like delete that timer and check the status of the timer. So that's all for the agenda. And as I was saying, to start with, we will go with this little project. So this project will the first thing we want to do is on the first launch, and for that we will use the session variable. So that's a built-in variable, and from that variable you can have the actual session the user is on. So each time the user will launch the skill, this variable will be auto incremented, and that's a way to get some information about the usage from the user, the skill usage. Keep in mind that this is not this is available in the test tool, but for this to be incremented each time, you will have to use that on a real device or on the platform simulator. Simply because the variable are not saved during a test, which is not the case for the other platform. As soon as you test that, you upload your project to a platform. When you test the project, the variable are saved. So the global variable are saved. Same for the session. So the first thing we are doing here is saving or checking that session number. If it's 1, that's the first time. So we want to do some stuff. And what we are going to do is setting the created prev timestamp variable to the actual timestamp. And again, timestamp is also a built-in variable, which will give you, well, the timestamp. So this is the current time, Unix time. Let me check. Just want to be sure that I'm not missing any chat information. So if you do not hesitate, if you have any question, put that in the chat. I will check that during the session. So what we want to do is to have the timestamp variable. This one is auto-populated. So what we want to be sure is to have another variable we can put something on, so to do the comparison. And because we want the skill to check if the user has passed the 24-hour. If that's the case, the flower will not be in good shape. So we want to check that. We also want to check that if the user launched the skill within the same time frame, within the same 24 hours, we want to be sure not to increment and not to go to another image. So that will be the same image during 24 hours. On the next day or after the 24 hour, we will show the user another flower image. So again, we are still in the first station. So we are setting the count variable to 1, as well as all those little variable flower 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as well as 0. So flower variable are actually a setting we are using in the APL template, simply to say if those images are visible or not. So none is basically you will not see the images. This is what we want. So basically what we are going to do is have a layer of images in our APL template. I will show you that on the Alexa APL editor later on, but just keep in mind that we are basically setting those value to none in the beginning. So no images will be shown. And then after that, we are checking the timestamp. So if it's the first time, as we have set the prev timestamp to the value of the actual timestamp, we should basically go to the else port. This one, and this is for the demo, that's why I have another block here. This is a simple comparison, but right there, this is 1 day in seconds. So basically what we want is the actual timestamp uh, over the previous timestamp plus 1 day in second. So if it's the case, it means that the flower is not in good shape. Otherwise, this one is basically 2 days. So again, so sorry, this one is for one day, so 24 hours. If it's over 24 hours, we want to show the, the new variation of the flower. If it's more than that, so more than 2 days, then the user didn't launch the skill each day and the flower is not in good shape anymore. So this is what we are doing for the demo. It's way quicker. It's basically checking for 5 sec and 30 second here. So if we call the skill, if we launch the skill every 5 seconds, within the 5 second, nothing will happen. We're still on the same image. If we do this within 5 to 29, we will have a new flower image. And if we do this after half a minute, the flower will be dead. So that's how we are handling this. And of course, you can set that value to whatever you want. That can be 1 week, that can be 1 month, that can be whatever. And that's the main goal of this project, just to help you to better understand what you can do with the timestamp and how you can deal with this and do some checking and maybe reward the user if they are visiting the skill or using the skill on a regular basis versus those that are not using the skill that much. So after that, let's say we are still on the first run. That's our very first station. We are doing all this, going here, and then as we are setting the count to 1 and in the init session, in that if block, we are checking the actual value of the count variable, and this will be 1. So we set the flower1 variable to visible, and then we are displaying that APL template. So let me open the Amazon APL editor right there, and I will upload the template in there. That's the dev console, sorry. That's the right one. All right. Actually, I will have to load also the just to do the demo. I will have to load the Alexa Developer Console. So I will do this right now. So we want to upload code and flower, and we want to open this one. So this is what it looks like. So we have a little animation here. That's some wave. By the way, I've shared that link already in our resource wall. But yeah, that's from APL Ninja. You can find a lot of great APL templates to do this kind of stuff. A good start if you're new to APL. And that will save you some time. But yeah, basically it's using vector graphics to do that little animation. And what we have on top of that is multiple images. As you can see, that's the flower. And all those flowers are updating. So that's again, that's some still frame from the time lapse, and we should see. Not sure. Yeah, that's not the correct one. Just we will see that in the demo. But basically, that's the first one up to the last one, and the last one has the zero extension, and that's what we are using in the data here. So flower 1 is visible, 2 visible, 3 visible, 4, 5, 6, 0 not visible. So if I play the demo here, the animation, you can see that we have that little animation between those frames, and yeah, it's showing the flower opening slightly. And what we are doing in the scale basically is regarding if it's a user return or not, we are setting those variable to the corresponding value. And as you can see, if I set that to known, the previous image will not be visible. And if the last one, so that 0 is visible, the flower is not in a good shape here, right there. And yeah, that's pretty much what we are doing here. And we are using for that, we are using the value here. Let me show you the code right there. So all the images are right there, and we are using the visible, so the display, sorry, property with whatever we have in our data source right there. So display for flower 4 should be visible or none. If it's not, if it's none, we are not showing the images, and if it's visible, we are showing the images. And for all those images, we do have a little animation here. So that's like a simple fade with 1,000 millisecond duration. So that was 1 second. And we are using delay to well, delay the animation. So the first one will have 1 sec delay, 2 second, and etc. And all this is encapsulated in the a sequential type command. So want to be sure you can have two type. You can have parallel as well as sequential. And sequential is basically doing all this one step after the other. So this is exactly what we want. We want to do basically a kind of a slideshow, but without any pauses in between the images. So again, the first time the user will launch the skill, this is what they will see. They will have the first flower 1 variable set to visible and all the other one to none. So they will have that flower. And if they launch the skill and that fit the actual need from the skill, so let's say within the 24 hours or on the next day, we will update that from the skill. So let's go right there. I do have access to the Alexa Developer Console, so I will switch right there. And yeah, let's do a quick test. Let me just restate that to be sure. Again, this is the way to clear all the variable used in your skill. While you are testing and developing your app, you may want some time to reset all the variable linked to the actual user. So the actual user of the simulator is your Alexa dev account. So if you do this, you will clear all the data saved for that skill and your actual dev account. Let's remove that. We want to go on the large. And well, let's try that. So we do have the little animation. We launched that. And if you remember, we have to do this within 5 seconds to be able to see that little animation. So if I'm doing this before the 5 seconds, nothing will change. And if I'm doing this after the 5 seconds, it will deal that as if it was a new day. So you can see the flower opening more and more. What I will do now is wait for I think it's still 30 seconds. Yeah, that's 30. So I will wait a bit and launch that again. And it will emulate, it will be like if the user didn't launch the skill for more than 2 days. And again, that's not the perfect example. It's just something I've put it for you to understand the logic behind that. But that can be again that can be a more a thing you will use for a workout skill. Be sure that the user did some exercises by launching the skill every day, for example. That's also be something if you want a skill to take care of someone or ask the user. That can be for kids doing homework. You ask them to check in, basically. I even use that in a skill where my kid were using like video game too much, and when I was talking to them, they say, okay, no, we want to play, we want to play, want to play. And the fact that I'm using Alexa in between us, it's sometimes more easier. So that's a little trick I share with you guys for those who have some kids. That can be sometimes helpful to use Alexa in there. So for example, what they have to do is every hour, after every hour, or they are playing in front of the TV, for example, or on an iPad, they will have to check in. And the Alexa is in another room of the house, so they will have to check on that Alexa specific device. And so to be sure they are actually moving and leaving the screen. And most of the time, because the Alexa it's in their room, they will stay in the room. They just get it and say, okay, 1 hour is fine, let's do something else. So that's the kind of stuff you can use and do with this this kind of project. And let's do this, and we will see this little animation up to sadly not a good shaped flower, because we miss the opportunity here. We didn't check in for, well, 30 seconds for us, but in our main project that will be 2 days. And yeah, we didn't take care of the flower. That's it. That's all for this first project. And that's perfect because we are off the session, so we will be able to move on the other one. Do you have any question yet or not in the chat? Is everything okay? Looks like. Hopefully you can hear me. I didn't check, but looks like yes. Okay, let's move on. So this is the timer demo. The timer demo will basically allow the user to create a timer, and this is the on-device timer you use to see on the Alexa device when you ask for you say whatever the name is, add a timer. This is the UI you will see if you have a device with a screen, or you will have the confirmation on a device without a screen. But basically, it's using the Amazon or Alexa API for that, which is great. This is a great way to I've seen some posts on Facebook from user asking, okay, I want the user to be able to wait for like 10 minutes and say another thing. And okay, you should understand that that's not the way skills and voice app and generally works. So you have an interaction and you do that interaction, but you are not waiting like 10 minutes for the user to do something. You can see that like in real life. You are not starting to do a conversation with someone at a time of this conversation. You say, okay, I will give you 10 minutes and I will stay in front of you, and after that 10 minutes, you will tell me whatever your answer is. I mean, that's not how thing goes. Basically, you say, okay, I will let you think about that and give me a call, or we will chat next time. So you should think of pretty much the same way when you are using that in a skill or a voice app. So basically what you want to do is, if it's more than, let's say, like half a minute or even a minute is start to be a bit long time, long period, you just say, okay, launch the skill again whenever you want, and you can use one-shot invocation for that. So Alexa, tell my skill that I'm ready. And because you are using the I'm ready invocation, and that will be an intent in your skill, you will trigger a specific pass in your skill. So basically, the I'm ready intent will be something like that. And because I'm using an intent block here, I can use that as a one-shot invocation. Again, the one-shot invocation is whatever you add to the invocation. So the invocation name is what you choose for to launch your skill or your voice app. So again, Alexa, tell my skill that I'm ready. So here you will have I'm ready, for example, as an intent. And because you are doing this, you just like link that to whatever flow or block you want, and it will do something. So for example, in the timer demo, if I'm doing this, Alexa, tell timer demo that I'm ready, and then the skill will say, do you want to start a new timer, for example. You will not go through there. You will go straight from there to there. So yeah, that's a way to deal with that. Another one is to use timer. Just keep in mind that the timer will give the user a sound notification, as well as the message you will set during the API call, because as it's an API, you will have to make some call to create, delete, or check the status of a reminder, of a timer, sorry. And during that request, you can basically here, right there, you can set a text. So that's what Alexa will say. So that's an stretching, say, Alexa, open timer demo to continue. That's what Alexa will say at the end of the timer, for example. But this will not open the skill. Again, the user will have, they will have to launch the skill. There are actually not real way to force launch or force open a skill. The only way to do it is using runtime and like automation in the Alexa app. But yeah, Amazon do not allow a skill to be launched without the user acknowledge permission, if you should say, which is great, because otherwise that will be generate some not so cool security issue. So the timer demo. The main goal here is, well, we want to use the timer API, but for this, and I've set I've put this link. So that's the documentation for the Alexa Timer API. Let's go right there. What you will see here is, first, you will notice that you will have to set some permission, and we don't have that yet available on Voiceflow. You can see right there. In permission, we have reminder, list read, list write, notification, address, full name, email, phone, location, services, as well as skill personalization. What we need here is the timer. Well, how can we tweak that? Well, if you do remember, I was talking about the VF file, VF project, and this is something you can export, but you can also import. So what we want to do is basically export that project to a local VF file, and that locally, and open that right there. And this is what the VF file is all about. So that's a lot of stuff. That's a JSON file, but you will start to see that, okay, looks like we do have something here, some information like randomized dialogue. So we should be surely be in a dialogue. Looks like if I change that, it will be able that to be randomized. I can change the dialogue, add another dialogue for the randomization. But the main goal here is permission. So as you can see, I've already updated this one. So right there, instead of using, so let me just redo that for you. Basically what I've done is I've put a permission block right there. I'm selected reminder. I'm select the reminder. I'm exporting this file. And yep, let's open that one again. And now we will have a new block with the permission, but for the reminder. So let's go right there. We want to be sure that Alexa alert. So we will do a search for that. And all, that's the one. So as you can see here, we have this new block with the, sorry about that. Alexa, stop. Sorry, don't, my fault. So we have this permission block and we have this permission, but this is for the reminder. And as you will see in the Amazon documentation here, we need this for the timer. So basically we need to do this, timers. I think that's timers with the S, but you can check that into Alexa documentation. Yes, it's timer. So that's Alexa alert timer skill read write. And simply by doing this, saving that document, so I'm saving the VF file, and then when I will import that file again, this block will have the timer. It will be set to timer instead of reminder. So to be sure not to touch the block again, I've put that in not the error flow, sorry. Yes, in the error flow. I've put that in a subflow just to be sure. This flow, I will never touch that again. It just, but as you can see, we don't have anything here, simply because we are not fully supporting the timer API. So it's kind of a little hack here. So you don't want to open that anymore. We just know that it's there. We are using it, and that's all we need. The other part of it will be, well, know that we have access to this. And by the way, using this will allow the skill, when you upload the skill to the Alexa Developer Console, this will also enable the access to the timer, as well as when you will use the permission block. So this one, it will generate a card, so that it will ask the user to allow access to the timer. The only thing that will not work is the this block, because this block is used to check what permission the user has access to. So until we update this with the timer, you will not be able to check what the actual permission status. So easiest way to tweak that and to hack that is to make a call to the API. If the API is failing, well, it's because the user do not have access to that API, and mostly because the permission is not set. So again, it's more a proof of concept here. It's more to you to understand how you can tweak the VF file to like enhance your project and start to test some stuff. Most of the thing will be available in a more classical way with our SDK. We do have a runtime, an Alexa runtime already available, open source on GitHub. So this will be the way to use that. But right now, that's another way, and that's how to show you how powerful it is to have no access to even if it's a simple JSON file. It's amazing what you can do. And how you can enhance a project. So right now, I will not go too much deeper in there, but I will share that project with you. The thing is, as you are using an Amazon Alexa API, you want to be sure that you are using the correct endpoint, and you get that information with this little code. Most of you are already aware of that. So basically, we are grabbing the API access token, API endpoint, as well as the device ID. And we are using this, well, not a device ID, but we are using the API endpoint, as well as the API access token to get access to the timer API. This one is just a check for the actual timer status. If you do not have any timer, so for example, if timer status is on, so meaning that the current timer is still running, we will go to this pass. Your timer is still running. Do you want to cancel it? Yes or no? If it's a no, we will exit the skill. If it's a yes, well, we use that API call. Same endpoint. The method is now delete. We still need the timer ID, and that's it. That will remove the actual, or delete the actual timer. So if no timer is set, we go right there and ask the user, prompt the user, do you want to start a new timer? If it's a yes, we are using this one. So no ID here because, well, we are creating a new timer. So we will get the ID from the response. So what we want to do is a post, and that's the body. Again, that you will have everything right there. You have multiple stuff. You can have visibility, hidden or not. The type that can be announced. That can be a yeah, notify only. It's up to you to choose whatever you want, and you can also grab like this. This is, well, that's not a good example. That's the launch part, but you can grab some code here. Be aware that sometime you will have to update that. Or for example, here, this is multiple choice. You will have to choose only one. So that can be notify, announce, or launch. So, but most of the time is basically just copy pasting the code. So let's go back right there. This is what I'm using here. So timer label will be exercises, exercise. Visibility will be visible, and we are using a text to announce, which is that's not stretching, blah blah blah, and play audible to through. And this this body, this JSON body will generate the timer, and you will actually you will see that on a device with a screen. You will see that the little count coming on, well, the Alexa timer. And what we want to grab from that is a timer ID. So from the response, we want to get sure to get the ID. Again, that's something you will have right there in the documentation. Go back to so that's the response, example response body. So that's the format of the response. You have the status, can be pause, can be on, the duration, trigger, timer label, create time, updated time, and remaining time when paused. If you have any question on this, go there, you will have your answer. And so we want the ID because that's what we will use to check the timer as well as delete that timer. And the timer label is mostly to just to say, okay, your timer has started. So here we are not setting that dynamically, so that will always be exercise. But you can put a name here. You can put whatever you want. So you can also use a variable, and you should be able to set that variable before the call, so you can create multiple timer with different name. Just be sure to grab the corresponding IDs, and that's how you create a skill that can use the Alexa timer API. The thing is, you will have to do this to test that on a device. It will not actually, the Alexa Developer Console simulator do not support timer, so it can't emulate timer. That's it for this little trick and introduction to Voiceflow via file. The last thing is something Braden has shared on Facebook regarding a converter we are starting to use to basically convert a project, an Alexa project, to a Google Action project. So this is something I've made mostly for you guys, just because some of you told me that, okay, I've made an Alexa skill and I want to do that. I mean, it's successful and I want to do that on Google, which is great. But, well, how we do this? So if for those that are with us from pretty much the beginning, you should remember that we do had here a little switch to switch from one platform to another. Well, those days it will be difficult to do this regarding the large difference we have between both platforms. And we are also opening to multiple platforms, so it makes no sense to just stick on or Alexa or Google. We are a tool to do voice prototyping, but for pretty much everything, and that's part of the beauty of this new year is we will start to spread a lot of new features regarding general assistant. So not only Alexa, not only Google. And so as you've seen on the previous project, well, it should be, at least that's what I was thinking, it should be possible to basically say, okay, the platform is not Alexa anymore, it's Google. Okay, let's do this. And I've done this and I've imported the project and it was a Google project, but, well, it's not so simple. We have some again, differentiation between an Alexa project as well as a Google project. So for example, the invocation name. Invocation name is invocation name in Alexa, but on Google, it's not the same. So we will have to deal with this. We will have to basically, we will have to change also the project name. That will be a good thing to be able to differentiate that on Voiceflow on your dashboard. So we should add like a GA or Google at the end or as a prefix to the project name. And the little thing I wanted to add is those. So those intent are Amazon intent. So they are pre-built intent or slot type, or those one are intent for sure. So that's the help intent, stop intent. But on Google, you don't have any stop intent. I mean, not available. And same for the help intent. So what I was thinking of is, why not generating those intent? And this is what I've ended with. So basically, what I've done is a code to grab all this, check the thing we need to change, platform, some information, description of the skill that will now be a Google action. So some stuff will change there. And also create a new custom intent for the help intent, remove the stop command because Google is not handling that. So no need to do that, as well as the yes and no. If you use the help flow, the default help flow, you will see that you have a yes, no, for example. But also I do have some feedback from users that when they were using a lot of yes, no block, like choice block with the default Amazon yes and Amazon no intent. And it can be such a pain to go to each subflow and change that to the new created custom yes and no intent for the Google action. So what this code will do is basically do this for you. And yeah, little old stuff, but we are going to be short on time here, so I will go quickly on that. But yeah, the voices, Alexa can have multiple voices, so we want to take care of that and remove. Let's say we have a Matthew voice here, we want to be set that back to Alexa, and this kind of stuff. And also, when we are on this, what we want to do is, if we are using, not sure I'm using that in this, so that's custom. Let's create a new one. Number, and I want to use the number slot because this one is also available on Google. So you have date, time, date and time, number, maybe another, but yeah, what I want to show you is we are going to export that project. That's an Alexa project, and we will convert that as a Google action and see what the result is. But this one, you know what, let's add another one, like a catch-all intent, and that will use the book. This is not available on Google, so this one should be converted to a custom slot. This one should be stick to number because this is also available on Google. And yeah, and also the last thing is the variable. I'm not using too much variable here, but I have worked on some project when you have a lot of variable, and most of the user, what they are doing when they switch to Alexa to Google is selecting all the block, copy paste that on a new project, which is a way to do it, but you will have to recreate all the variable. And again, that can take some time. So yeah, this is what we've done with this new export feature. So you go to export, local file, select whatever directory you want to save that. And this is, so for this example, I'm using my own API, but I will show you after that more deeply the code here for those who want. And I will share, I mean, that's all is open source. So I will share the Electron app I've made. So basically what you need to do is to drag your project right there, click on convert, and it will be popped to this new GA file you want to save. And I will open that. So I'm just looking at the, okay, let's do right, maybe like this. Okay, import. So I want to import that GA, open. It will have a pop-up here. And let's check that. So you can see now that this is a Google. We do not have any stop command anymore. If I'm going to the help is now a custom intent, again, because Google do not have default help intent. If we are going to the flow, help flow, no more Amazon yes intent, but a custom one. So this has been made automatically by the converter. Going back here, looks like we do not use Alexa only block, which is fine. Otherwise, the block will be grayed out, and you should remove that or take care of that. But most of the work will be done like this. So yeah, we surely have an issue here. Well, not an issue, but the display block, yeah, will be deprecated. So you can't use Alexa on Google. Alexa IPL on Google. And if I check the model, new one, so that's the tree intent that have been created during the conversion slot. Yeah, we have still custom, which is fine. All the synonyms are here. Catch-all has been set to custom because we do not have a book on Google, and the number have been changed to action type number. So yeah, again, that will help you guys to gain some time, hopefully. It's a good way to show you how powerful it is to have access to your VF file right now. Another thing I'm thinking about is, you see those little block. I'm doing all this the same way for all of my project. So I was thinking of, okay, if something is in that combined block, and do some logic, let's say, okay, that's an API block, should be, this block should be blue. That's a speak block, this block should be purple. That's an if or that choice, this block should be green. And that's also something the same way we are doing the conversion versus Alexa to Google, in Alexa to Google. You can also change the color of a block just simply by editing this this code here. And last thing is, for example, export all the dialogue. You can also have, let's say you are using an external word editor or processor, and you are doing your dialogue on this. Well, you can do a quick widget, a Chrome extension, or whatever, an API to basically open your file, check for all the dialogue you want, and export that. Or do a translation. You have a US skill, you want to translate that in French, you can do this. You can extract all the text from the speak block and translate that and re-inject that in a new project, and that will be your French project. So yeah, a lot of possibilities here. The last thing I want to share with you is, so a bit of a code for those who knows, it's basically just, it's just purely JavaScript. So it's not that a big deal to understand that, as you are already using a bit of JSON in your Voiceflow project. But as you can see, what I'm doing is looking for a specific value like Amazon book, and changing that to another one, like date to action type date. it's simple as that. It's not a big deal. And about creating the intent, it's just like this. I want to add, like, let's say I want to add a new utterance here in the newly created help intent. Well, I'm just adding a line, and that will be please help. This simple as this. So same for the yes intent. The little trick here are mostly to find the corresponding type or filtering what you want to remove or to add. But yeah, that's how you remove the stop intent, the stop command, sorry. It's a logic. If that has the stop intent and the type is a command, well, you are in your start command using the Amazon step intent. So you do whatever logic you want. And here we want to delete that. So we are deleting that node. And that's it. That and the beauty of that is JavaScript. You can create like an app from that. So yeah, if I'm going to that Rebuild in Finder, this is a Mac app, but you can generate a Windows map. I'm using Electron here, so it's a multi-platform. I can select my project, open, and select the export project file, save. So I'm not using any API. I'm doing this locally, and that's done. So basically, you have your Alexa to Google Voiceflow converter right there, and that's something you can also do in a Google Chrome extension, for example. So again, it's happening, a lot of possibilities, and I love that. Hopefully, you will also love this. That will be it for today. And I will check the chat. We got we still have 1 minute here. I've heard reference to SDK more and more. Yes, any info you can share, we'll be able to use the. So the SDK will allow you to basically use Voiceflow as a prototyping tool, then export what I've done here. You will export a project instead of just a VF file. You will export a project, and from that project, you will be able to run it on your own server, as well as using this with Rada, for example, or whatever other platform you want to use. So that's the power of the SDK. And this is something we are already using with enterprise that want to use their own runtime or use this on their own server for like privacy issue, or basically they don't want the data to be sent anywhere else. And that's what the SDK is used for right now. And yes, hopefully this is something that we will open more widely to more and more users. But yeah, right now we are focusing on the development of this SDK for enterprise. But yeah, as always, as soon as we have something to share and a new feature to add, we will do that. So we will host the skill rather than that VF for Amazon. Yes, yeah. Basically, you can run your own server to interpret the VF project and send that to whatever you want. So we do have already an Alexa runtime. So for example, from a VF project, you can already use your own server to run an Alexa skill. And the good thing with that is because you are using your own server and your own runtime or your own code, you can add feature. So basically, you can dev what is missing in Voiceflow from there. So yeah, that's cool. All right. So hopefully this was not too technical. Sorry, I tried to split that in two parts. But yeah, if it was too technical, at least most of the user that have left since I've seen the first part, which was way more simple. So yeah, but yeah, just want to be sure that you are aware of what you can now do with simple VFI, and yeah, I will share the the Alexa timer API example, as well as the flower if you want. It's not a big one, but it just, yeah, at least you will show how it works. And well, that's it for today. It was great to talk to you guys again for this new year, and hopefully we will have more project soon. And yeah, that's all for today. Bye, and thanks again. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.